Welcome to AquarianRadio.com.
AquarianRadio.com.
Aloha, this is Enki. You know me as Aquarius, and this is our age, the Sata Yuga, time to celebrate with us. We have programs on all chakra tantra, love styles and relationship choices, counseling strategies and techniques that you can use at home. We have extraterrestrial radio where we deal with alienology, paranormal people, and we have an experiencers network. We have a section called Ancient Aliens, and the programs therein are Enki Speaks, Nimma, the Mother of Humanity, has her program, and we revise ancient anthropology. And most important of all, we have peace paradigms, because this is the age of peace, harmony and understanding, sympathy and love abound. No more falsehoods or derisions, mystic crystal dreams and visions.
And here are your hosts, Janet and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Hello, hi everyone, and welcome to Aquarian Radio at AquarianRadio.com. This is an episode of Enki Speaks, and I am your host, Janet Kier Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson, who is a leading anthropologist in the study of ancient cultures. And today's episode is entitled, Techno-Advanced ETs Were Similar in All Ancient Cultures. And we're going to read you selections from Dr. Rita-Louise's book, The E.T. Chronicles. And Dr. Lesson, go ahead and begin.
Okay, well, underneath the creator of all, which is not conceived of like a person. This is reading out of this wonderful book, The E.T. Chronicles by Rita-Louise. The gods, excluding the omnipotent creator god, were seen as immortal, with lifetimes that extended longer than our own. Now they could die, or they could be killed, but they could be seen, heard, felt, and touched. There's wars between these gods. In every culture we get these reports of wars. They're so cruel to each other. Their behavior toward humanity is really cruel too. They fight with each other for ultimate power and control. These gods, this level of gods that we find in every culture, had technology that far exceeded that of our ancestors. They had vehicles, including celestial chariots, cars, and planes. They could take to the skies and fly over vast distances in their vehicles. The gods of the ancient world had astonishing weapons that could smote their enemies and cause devastation to land. The gods of old, in every culture, could also change their appearance and take on the form of both man and beast. They could assume the identity of other gods to carry out their plans. These stories, Louise concludes, and I concur with her, were actually factual accounts of the past.
So we're going to look at the attributes associated with each god, especially the most ancient ones. And when we do, it's easy to see the similarities between the gods of one culture and the corresponding gods from a vastly different culture and geographical area. So this assessment is based upon the individual gods' iconography. I pronounce it iconography?
Yeah, that's good.
Iconography, okay. Which is the depiction of an individual or subject within the context of an image. And whether it's a picture, or sculpture, or a written description, and these symbols have been used in art to identify an individual since the earliest times. And Moses is customarily shown with small horns, which is a symbol of authority. And these horns are protruding out of his head. When the Romans took over the Greek pantheon of gods, the Romans took over the Greek pantheon of gods when they conquered the Greeks in 168 BCE. And the Greeks' god Zeus became Rome's Jupiter. And the god Poseidon, the Greek god Poseidon, became the god Neptune. And this also happened in Egypt. The god Anubis, during the Old Kingdom in Hermopolis, Egypt, was the guardian and the guardian and protector of the dead. And he was the god of the underworld and during the New Kingdom. Okay, here we go. And he was a protector of the dead, and this role was transferred to Osiris, and Anubis was then given a lesser role in the Egyptian pantheon. Local gods commonly would take on the attributes of the most ancient of gods when the seat of culture shifted from one geographical area to another, and the old god was repackaged, and a new and improved, more socially acceptable god was created. Try of thinking of the gods as a business or corporation. Very interesting.
You're still on, honey.
Hold on. One moment. Had a spill. Okay. The gods were often depicted as tall in stature, and their complexion is depicted as white, yellow, or golden in hue. They were reported as having ample golden or red hair and blue eyes. And it said the faces of the gods gleamed like the light of a new risen sun, and they had shining bodies. And these were also called, in some cultures, the Shining Ones. Inhabitants from Mexico to Peru described their creator god as being a bearded Caucasian man in flowing robes. In some representations, the gods are depicted as having wings, like those on angels. Hindu and Buddhist traditions depict an array of gods with humanoid or partially humanoid form. Like, for example, Indra, the god of war, is often portrayed with 4 arms, and Brahma, their chief celestial god, is shown with 4 heads, and Vasravana is represented as a dwarf. And we have to look at the original Greek pantheon to find that the gods Uranus and Gaia had a number of children, which included the Titans, the Hecatoncheires, which were gods who had 100 arms and 50 heads, and the Cyclopses, gods with only 1 eye in the center of their heads. Many cultures of the world also describe a race of giant gods. Back to Sasha.
More than any other descriptions regarding the physical appearance of a non-humanoid god form is that of a snake or dragon. There's more of them than any other kind. Gods who take the form of snakes are found in every single culture of the world, according to our author. They have the upper body of a human and the lower body like that of a snake. And snake gods include Enki from the Sumerian, Quetzalcoatl, Neptune, Ophirion, Typhon, Apep, Kanmare, Fuzi, Nuwa, Jorungand, and the Nomo. That's quite a list. These gods are portrayed with the ability to shapeshift. They can actually change their outward appearance whenever they want to. Quetzalcoatl is described as appearing in both human form and in the form of a feathered serpent. In Norse mythology, both Odin and Loki are said to have changed their appearance, where they took female forms to tempt or spy on one another. Zeus is famous for his shape-shifting. He used it to seduce women. If Zeus revealed himself in his true form, it would cause instant destruction to the mortals, so the story goes. And so Zeus took the form of a white cow, a white bull, a swan, a satyr, and then he's said to have altered himself into the form of an Amphitryon, the son of Alcaeus, the king of Tyrannes, in order to seduce Amphirion's betrothed, Alcmene, the daughter of the king. That's probably more detail than you need to.
Heracles was the producer of this
product, honey.
Heracles was the product of this union. Okay, so we have these gods with complicated names, but anyway, the basic what we're saying is that the gods could shapeshift. We'll talk about that after we read a little bit more.
So there's your part.
Okay. Let's see.
So these are the main different categories of gods that Dr. Louise found in her study. So the first one, Janet's going to read you about.
Omnipotent creator God, and he is a God who lives external to the world he created. And according to the story, he existed prior to creation, where he supplied the energy for creation to occur. And this undetectable God does not have a form, human or otherwise, nor any attributes, and this God is believed to be in everything and everywhere, and is beyond human comprehension. And this God did not create the earth in Aztec and India traditions, and humankind directly, but instead created the gods who facilitated this act. The God in many culture has been combined with the attributes of the Father, Sky Father. Mm-hmm. And this God was referred to as Amoteotl by the Aztec, Awanuilona by the Zuni, Vishnu by the Hindus, Wa'ak by the Ormo people of South Africa. The Native American Pawnee relate that this god Tirawa'atiesk could not come near men unless powerful gods were created who were permitted to mediate between man and this god.
So to really start to understand how these every culture in the world has this idea of a creator God that doesn't particularly have a human form or anything like that, and that somehow connecting with this level of consciousness is something that's there for everybody. So just to give you a feeling for the way to do this, to feel, because this sort of force in attenuated form is within you too. So what you're doing, if I asked you, Janet, for example, or you out there in Radio Land, to identify with the creator of all, and say what your attributes are, what your characteristics are like. Okay, so Janet, pretend you're the creator of all. What are you like, creator?
Well, creator of all, I am omnipotent, omniscient, and I love all of creation totally, unconditionally, and eternally. And I am an eternal being with no beginning, no end. And I am, all, I don't want to say all powerful, but love in non-physical form, love as an energy that is in the entire universe and multi-universes and exists.
When you embody yourself in the person Janet Kira lesson, what is what do you need for Janet Kira lesson to do to be in harmony with you?
Remember oneness. Remember the connection.
Beautiful, beautiful. So each one of these archetypes in balance in our personality has something to contribute. So this is remembering the connection with the all. And so every culture has this concept. They have it their own way, but they've got it. The next main kind of God that we find in all the cultures of the world, Louise identifies as the Sky Father, and in Sumerian terms that was the role given to Anu, who was the king of Nibiru often. And the Sky Father is the supreme of all the other lesser gods, Anu was, and he judges whether things are going right or wrong on the planets that are in his charge. The Zuni called this god Apoyani Tachi. The Inca called him Hanuabku. And so as we say in Sumerian, he's Anu. And so I'm going to be Anu now. Let me just identify with the archetype of Anu. As Anu, I'm the reflective leader of these people, and I take all the information in, and then what I say goes, because people know that I really am super intelligent and compassionate, and I have told my princes that they must foster this species on Earth and keep giving them technological and political means to evolve to higher levels of civilization. I'm Anu, and I am making sure that my princes obey me, and they'd better. They will.
Okay. So, over to the God of Wars. This is another concept. And the God of War is a subordinate of the Sky Father, and he is known under a variety of different names, including Sky Spirit God, Guardian of the Sky, Chief of all gods, and Ruler of Heaven. The God of War is responsible for carrying out the judgments of the Sky Father. His wrath has included the annihilation of life on Earth. Oh, nice guy. He presides over the earth and acts as a mediator between the gods and man. He's often described as being very angry, vengeful deity, and he has issues with others when they do not respect his authority. He's often depicted as riding storm clouds and shooting flaming arrows, or throwing lightning bolts at humans or the demonic forces. His voice is frequently described as sounding like thunder. And this God of War in some cultures is shown holding a pickaxe, hoe, club, or hammer. He is associated with birds and the eagle in particular. And some of the names of this god include Zeus, Enlil, Indra, Hino, Chak, Huracan, and Mamaragan.
Okay, well, the heaviest by far is Enlil. And so, Janet, if you would, just so people get a feeling for what the commander's like, would you say I'm Enlil and say what you are like as Enlil?
I am Enlil. I'm son of Anu, commander of the earth, and my rule is absolute. My power is complete, as given to me by my Father God, and you must obey my every command.
I see. Do you have any rivals?
My rivals are anyone that does not obey my commands. Anyone at any time defies my ultimate power and does not obey my command is at risk of becoming my rival.
Yeah, you got that's old Yahweh Enlil.
Yep.
Okay, well, the next one is the fertility god. In every culture, that's Enki, or some form of Enki. He's like a loving parent, and he really likes people. He taught people to write, to have calendars,
Hold on.
to have phones that go whoop, whoop, whoop.
We have what do you call it? Spam coming in from Skype. I don't know how you can stop spam. But anyway, back to your reading. Sorry about that.
We're back to the fertility god, Enki. He's the god of the watery deep. He's shown holding a three-pronged fork-like object. Sometimes he comes as a serpent, sometimes a dragon, sometimes half man, half serpent. This is Enki. He's mischievous. He's a trickster. His names include Soyan, Neptune, Quetzalcoatl, Varuna, and of course Enki, Michabo, Baime, Ngai, Obatalu, and Itzamama. Okay, so this is a really important. Let me say what it's like to be Enki. I think everything's interesting and fun. I think people get along. I don't care about all this power. I just want to have fun. And I think that these are such creative creatures. They're wonderful. I'm going to see to it that they live longer and that they are around, and I'm going to protect them. I live in Mount Shasta.
Thank you. What else would you like to say, Enki?
I think that's we really got to go on to the hidden wisdom in this group of Anunnaki, the archetype that I think needs the most attention and probably doesn't get enough, and that's Nimma. the mother of humanity. And Janet, would you please embody Nima? Say what you are like and what your existence has been and is.
I am Nimba, the mother creator god of humanity, the geneticist that worked in the labs in South Africa with my brother husband Enki and my nephew Ningashita to create and up-level humanity, these creatures we called Lulus, so that they would eventually become equals with us. And we have been nurturing and fostering these beings throughout time since the beginning, and they're doing quite well.
Terrific. And so now I would like you, and you in Radioland could even do the same if you've been following along with this, is to imagine that you are centered and you have all of these different archetypes in you, and they all want something of you with the way they come down in your life. And so I want you to listen to each of these that you've first of all listen to the Nimba inside of you. See, imagine Nimba, who lives inside of you, has something she needs from you or wants from you and wants you to do. Get your message. What does Nimba want of you who holds her in your heart? What do you get, Janet, when you're Nimba? What does Nimba want of you, Janet?
What Nimba wants of me is to live an authentic life and rise to my fullest potential.
Oh.
To meet the gods who have created us and to be their future, for the gods were becoming infertile and not able to reproduce. And even though they were extremely long-lived, were facing their mortality. And through their children, they will achieve true immortality.
Thank you. And now, if you would, become the Enki inside of Janet. Enki inside of Janet. What do you want of Janet? What do you need from her?
I, as Enki, want Janet to do her best and to continue the work that I've begun until the time comes when I can reemerge into humanity and reveal the truth, which is coming out through people like Janet and Sasha, but is ultimately back on the individual to find their own personal truth, which best serves themselves individually and collectively serves all of humanity.
And now, if you would, become the Enlil in Janet. What is that part of Janet? I know you have something to contribute. What do you want to contribute to Janet? What do you need from Janet Enlil within her?
I, as the Enlil part of Janet, want Janet to be able to take command whenever that's required and to do the best for her people, for those in her lives and the animals and everyone around her, and to use her highest judgment and all her skills and all her knowledge and wisdom to make the best choices in any given moment.
And the Anu within Janet, what do you need in Janet's ecology?
I, as Father Anu, seek the survival of all peoples on all planets, including Nibiru and Earth. And I see the higher perspective. I travel the universe, or I travel at least the solar system on my planet and other ships, and I see the greater perspective. And from that greater perspective, I see the solutions for all the ills, humanity, and both planets and Anunnaki alike, and each individual. Great. There are always solutions.
Yes. And so, what I ask you to do is to return to that thought of yourself as being a center, a part that embraces within you these resonances of the gods of old, who we have within us in our own idiosyncratic ways as archetypes or energies that when we integrate them and coordinate them from our centers, we can have a rich ecology with many, many different areas of contribution. And so this, whatever you've learned in terms of centering and being able to embrace the archetypes, the gods within you and open to those without, is now part of your mental apparatus and is no longer dependent on having ever heard this show, but now becomes part of what you can do.
Hold on. I gotta get my script out from under my cap. And thank you so much for joining us today. Before we part, I want to remind you that our books are available on our website, EnkiSpeaks.com and AquarianRadio.com. And the books that we have created recently for you and our listeners and our readers are Anunnaki Gods No More, Anunnaki Legacy of the Gods, and Anunnaki False Gods. And our sites are AquarianRadio.com, EnkiSpeaks.com, Nimma.com, ExtraterrestrialContact.com. And for those who have had encounters or experiences with paranormal and extraterrestrial beings, do tune into ExperiencersNetwork.com. And that has been a show today. Any final words, Dr. Lesson?
No, this has been a lot that I've taken you through. I suggest you listen to it a few times because there's richness that you're going to open up when the archetypes begin to dialogue with you. It'll be more than just an episode.
Thank you very much, and aloha. Thanks for joining us today on Aquarian Radio. We broadcast daily, and our schedule is on AquarianRadio.com. Listen live by calling 646-649-0893, or you can listen live by calling 646-649-0893, or listen to our archives on AquarianRadio.com. Join us again soon, and do tell your friends. The age of Aquarius and the paradigm of peace is now.